everyone, it's Darla from Crafty Yarn Owl. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make this top. It's made in one piece, starting from the top, and as you work it, it grows wider and longer at the same time. And I'll show you in the video where you start adjusting to your size. All right, it's very easy to do, very easy pattern. The sleeves make themselves, except I do have a border on the sleeves and on the bottom. And then I just did a single crochet around the neck to tidy it up. Okay, so let's talk about the yarn I used for this. This is what I did the tutorial with. I put up a video the other day of how to make your own unique colorway cakes, yarn cakes, and I'll have that linked below. But I had made this one, so you'll get to see it in the video, you know, in like complete. And it's just fun to make them, and then you can use them right away if you want, or you can set them on your shelf and they'll look real pretty. You use your scrap yarn, so instead of having all these little balls around, you have a nice cake. Okay, so this yarn, there's two different yarns in this one, two different colorways actually. They were both Mandala, and Mandala is a light 3. In here there's 150 grams, 590 yards, 100% acrylic. When I put all my scraps together, I maybe it amounted to 1 3/4 balls maybe, and this is what I have left. So, because I had used a little bit out of each one. One colorway was Echo Caves, and the other one was Phoenix. So I combined them, starting with the darker colors and going down lighter. And that's how I used it in the top. Okay, hook size, recommended hook size is 5mm, and I used a 5.5mm. I always go up when I do wearables, and it's just to make the stitches a little looser, more lacier, you know, like especially if you want to wear something for summer. Like, I know this is acrylic, but it's very holey. And you could make it looser if you want. I mean, it's all size adjustable. Okay, so that's that one. Did I say it was a light 3? All right, so I had this left, and I also had some of the dark left because I did color control in that if I couldn't do a whole row with a certain color, or I couldn't do a second row with a certain color, so I think I used all the colors, then I just put it in a little baggie, and it came in really handy to do the trim on the sleeves. So maybe you want to save some for the trim. All right, so the one I'm wearing, this is the exact same pattern as well. And this one is a medium 4. Just stand back here. This one's a medium 4 weight. And it is the Caron crystal cakes. Caron crystal cakes. Sorry about that. Dropping everything. And, okay, let's see. This is made by Yarnspirations. There's no wool in it, it says here. It's medium 4, 64% acrylic, 24% polyester, 7% nylon, and 5% metallic. So this is it. It's got a little bit of shininess that runs through it. And this is a 240 grams, 634 yards. I have this left of 1 ball plus the 2 little balls that fell on the floor. And let's see what else is there on here. Colorway is Dusk. Recommended hook size for this is a 5mm. And ooh, I actually used a 5mm. I used a 5mm for this. Usually I go up a size or half a size. But anyway, I used a 5mm. And then for the sleeves, I did 2 rows of double crochets here. On this one, I only did 1 row of double crochets. And I went down to a 4.5, I believe it was for, well, you'll see in the video. And then I went down to a 4mm. I believe I show that in the video. It's just to make it, the sleeves a little bit, pulled in a little bit more. All right, so that's that one. Then I showed a pink one in the very beginning, and this one is not quite finished. Oh, sorry about that. This one is actually, I think this one is my favorite. It's not quite finished. I still have to make it a little bit longer and do trim and stuff. But this one, I am using the Rainbow Bamboo by Hobbii. And it is 60% bamboo, 40% cotton. It's a fine 2 weight. And there's 100 grams in here, 274 yards. Recommended hook is a 3mm. Now, like I said, I'm going to make this a little longer. Maybe I won't make it as long as the other ones. I'm not sure yet. But this is my second ball. And what else do we need to know? Okay, the color is, they just have a number for the colorway. As soon as I find it, I'll tell you. Color 25, and it's actually a very, very pretty pink. I think on their site it says cerise, maybe C-E-R-I-S-E. So I like to try to make tops in different weights of yarn to show you how they look. Sometimes people prefer 4 weights. Sometimes they prefer 3. Sometimes they prefer 2. So this is really working out nicely, and well, they all did. And this has bamboo in it, so it has a drape. I don't know if you can tell right now, but it has a nice drape. All right, so recommended hook size, did I say it was a 3mm? And I actually am using a 4mm. So this is how it's working out with a 4. All right, so let's get started on the tutorial. All right, let's do this. And we're going to start by making a chain of 84. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now you can use this method so that your chain doesn't twist. You take your hook out of your last chain you made, put it into that first chain you made, and then go back into that last chain and continue making your chain. So I had 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Continue on. Now when you've made your 84th chain, you take your yarn and pull it through both like that so that you have a circle. Now this is going to be going around your neck, or just, you know, below your neck. Make sure it's the right size for you. If it's too wide, because it is going to get weighted down by the rest of the top, so it will stretch out a little bit more. So make sure it's the right size for you, and if it's a little too big, go down a hook size or 2. There are no multiples in this. It is straight up 84. Okay, mine looks fairly big. It might be a bit of an off the shoulder look, and that's fine with me. All right, so now what you're going to do is you're going to chain 6. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now that first chain 4 counts as a triple crochet, and then the 2 extra chains counts as a chain 2. All right, now if you have not done triple crochets before, or you have difficulty with them, practice. Now's the time to practice. I used to have a problem with them, but the more you practice, the better you get. So what we're going to do is we're going to yarn over the hook twice, and then we're going to go into that same spot where we did that chain, put our hook in there, grab our yarn, pull it through, grab our yarn, pull through the first 2 loops, grab our yarn, pull through the next 2 loops, grab our yarn, pull through the final 2 loops. All right, so that is our first triple crochet V-stitch. So I'm going to put a stitch marker in there. Okay, now we're going to chain 2, 1, 2. We're going to skip 2 chains, 1, 2. We're going to go into the 3rd one. Let me just see here. 1, 2, go in the 3rd one with a triple crochet. So wrap your yarn around your hook twice, go into that 3rd chain with a triple crochet. So yarn over, pull through that loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2, the second 2, and the 3rd 2. All right, and then chain 2. I got a hair, so it was 1, 2. Skip the next 2 chains, go in the next one with a triple crochet. So yarn over twice, go through that chain, grab your yarn, pull through, grab your yarn, pull through 2, pull through 2, and pull through 2. And then chain 2, skip 2, yarn over twice on your hook, goes through that 3rd chain, pull your yarn through, grab your yarn, pull it through first 2, the second 2, and the 3rd 2. Okay, we're going to make 6 of these individual triple crochets. Make sure you chain 2 between each one, and make sure you skip 2 chains between each one. Skip 1, 2 chains, go in the 3rd one with a triple crochet. Chain 2, skip 2, go in the 3rd one with a triple crochet. Okay, so now we have our V-stitch right at the beginning, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 triple crochets, chain 2, make another triple crochet after skipping 2 chains. All right, skip 2 chains, go in the 3rd one with a triple crochet. And chain 2. So now this is what we have. We have our V-stitch and we have our 3 individual triple crochets. So now we're going to make another V-stitch. So we've chained 2, skip 2 chains. Just see, where am I at? Skip 1, 2 chains, go in the next with a triple crochet. Chain 2, and then go into the same chain with another triple crochet. And we're going to mark that. We're going to mark our V stitches. Okay, chain 2. Skip 2 chains, 1, 2. Sometimes it's a little difficult. Okay, I think that's 2. 1, 2, go in the third one with a triple crochet. And we're doing the same sequence we did at the beginning. We have our V-stitch and 6 triple crochets, a V-stitch, 6 triple crochets, a V-stitch, 6 triple crochets, and then you're going to end up at the very first V-stitch you made. Make sure you chain 2 in between everything and skip 2 chains between everything except your except your V-stitch. Put the V-stitch in that same chain. So continue on with that, and I'll meet you at the very beginning. Now when you get to the end of round 1, you should have 2 chains left, and you just skip over those. I've already chained 2 at the end, and then we're going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 4 we made at the beginning of the row. Slip stitch through there, and then we're going to slip stitch through the middle of that excuse me, that V-stitch, first V-stitch. Okay, so there's our first row. All right, row number 2. We are going to chain 6. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The first chain 4 here counts as a triple crochet, and then a chain 2. Now we're going to make a triple crochet in the middle of that same V-stitch. There's our triple crochet. So now we have our first V-stitch in the second row. We're going to chain 2, and we're going to make another V-stitch right in that same spot, right in that V-stitch. So make another V-stitch. I'm noticing this Mandala yarn is splitting a lot, so bear with me. Okay, that was a triple crochet, chain 2, and then another triple crochet. All in that same spot. So technically we have a V-stitch, a chain 2, and a V-stitch. Okay, now we are going to chain 2. And now that we've worked in this V-stitch here, the next space is right here. We're going to make a triple crochet right into that V-stitch, into that space. Then we're going to chain 2, and we're going to make a V-stitch into each of these spaces along until we get to our next V-stitch. Okay, so did I say we're going to put a triple crochet? Because that's what it is. Triple crochet into each of those spaces with a chain 2 in between. Okay, next space. Chain 2. Oops, oh, see that splitty yarn? Okay, next space, we put a triple crochet. Chain 2. Next space, put a triple crochet. chain 2, next space, triple crochet, chain 2. Now this is a space as well, right before the V-stitch. This is a space. So we're going to put a triple crochet in there. And we're going to chain 2. Okay, now we're up to our V-stitch. So we're going to put 2 V-stitches in that V-stitch separated by a chain 2. So let's do that. Triple crochet, chain 2, triple crochet, and that is your first V-stitch in this V-stitch space. Then we chain 2 and then do another V-stitch in that same V-stitch space. Okay, triple crochet, chain 2, triple crochet. Okay, so we have 2 V-stitches separated by chain 2 in our V-stitch. Okay, now we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to start putting those individual triple crochets into each space. So we just worked into this V-stitch, so your next space is right after it. So put a triple crochet in there. Chain 2, triple crochet in the next space, chain 2, triple crochet in the next space, and so on, just like you did before. Okay, so then I've chained 2. Now make a triple crochet in each of these stitches with a chain 2 in between. When I make my last triple crochet in this space, I will chain 2, and then I will make my 2 V-stitches into this V-stitch. When I'm done with those, I'll chain 2 and then make the individual triple crochets into each of the spaces. So I will meet you at the end of this row. All right, we're at close to the end of round 2. Now I've chained 2 and I have 1 more space right here. So I'm going to put a triple crochet in that space. I'm going to chain 2. And then I'm going to slip stitch into the first of those 2 V-stitches. I'm going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 4 we did. Okay, and then I'm going to move over and slip stitch into the center of that V-stitch. Okay, so we're going to make some more V-stitches here. So in that first V-stitch, out of the 2 that are separated by this chain 2, we're going to make 1 V-stitch in there. So chain up 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make your triple crochet to finish off that V-stitch. All right, so that's 1 V-stitch in that first V-stitch. And now this one is between these 2 V-stitches. So this one is the chain 2 space. We're going to put 2 V-stitches in there, separated by a chain 2. Okay, we're not going to chain 2 after this first V-stitch. We're just going to go right in to that center space, that chain 2 space. And we're going to make a V, whoops. Wrap your yarn around twice. Go into that center, chain 2 space, with a V-stitch. All right, then we're going to chain 2 and then make another one in that same chain 2 space. And that's what you'll be doing around each row, putting 2 V-stitches in that center chain 2 space between the V-stitches. Okay, now we're going to go into that next V-stitch and make a V-stitch. Did I do that right? I hope the sound of the stitch markers isn't bothering you. It's kind of bothering me. All right, so let's make that V-stitch. Okay, now what we have is, we've gone into that first V-stitch with a V-stitch. And then that chain 2 space, we've made a V-stitch, chain 2, V-stitch, all in that same space. Then we've gone directly into the next V-stitch and made a V-stitch. All right, so now we're going to chain 2. And we're going to put a triple crochet into that first space. This is where we do our individual triple crochets again. Chain 2, next space, triple crochet, chain 2, next space, triple crochet, chain 2, next space, triple crochet, chain 2. All right, I'm going to meet you at the next V-stitch. Now I put my last triple crochet in that last space, and now we're up to those V-stitches again. So we want to chain 2. In that first V-stitch, we're going to put a V-stitch. Oh. To get some more. Oh, it's stuck. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. So in the last clip, I'm making a V-stitch into the V-stitch. So I've done triple crochet, chain 2, and then we'll put a triple crochet back in that same stitch to complete our V-stitch. All right, so now we have that chain 2 space right in the middle. So we're going to put 2 V-stitches separated by chain 2. So let's make the first. This is the first V-stitch. Right there. Chain 2. Put another V-stitch in that same V-stitch. Okay, that's our chain 2 space, right in the middle of those 2 V-stitches. Now I'm going to put a V-stitch into that last V-stitch. That beeping is not at your house, it's in mine. My coffee's almost ready. All right, so now we put a V-stitch in that last V-stitch. We're going to chain 2, and then we're going to put our individual triple crochets into each of the spaces as we go along with chain 2 in between each one. So we're going to continue doing that. When you get to your next row in the V-stitches, it's the same thing. Okay, you'll put your individual triple crochet into your last space, chain 2, you'll put a V-stitch into I better demonstrate on this row. Put your last triple crochet into this last space, chain 2, put a V-stitch in the V-stitch, put a V-stitch in the V-stitch, put 2 V-stitches separated by chain 2 right in that middle that chain 2 space, I'm sorry, and then put V-stitch in here, put a V-stitch in the next V-stitch, chain 2, and then start putting your triple crochets in each space. And then when you get to putting one in the last space, make sure you chain 2 before you start doing your V-stitches. Okay, so I'll meet you after I've done a few rows. Alright, so I've made 9 rows. This is what your piece will look like. It'll look like a square. Now you may make more rows or less rows depending on your size, but now what we do is we take this square and we fold it in half. We have the neck hole at the top, so you just slip this over your head like this, spread it out like this. Okay, then you grab the back of it and the front, and you'll hook it together with a stitch marker. And I'll show you where to hook it together. You do it on both sides, of course. And then you start crocheting around until you get the length that you desire. And then we'll come back and we'll sew this up a little bit, because this part will be too open. Sew it up a little bit, and then I'll show you how to do the border around the sleeves and around the bottom, and we'll do something around the neck as well. Alright, so let me just grab this. 1, 2, show you. Okay, so this is how it goes on me, and this will be big enough to cover the girls. And I'll make it the length that I want. Okay, now have your piece in front of you. Here's the neckline here. We folded it over. We're going to connect the sides, which go under your arms. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to look for that corner that we did with the 4 triple crochets in there that are separated by chain 2. Go in that very center one with a stitch marker, and then we're going to go into the very center of the back one as well and hook them together. Okay, now I'm going to do the other side. Very center of that corner, and then same with the back, very center of the corner. Okay, now we're ready to work all the way around. First I'm going to I'm going to end this row here that I did. Make sure that you chain your 2 and then slip stitch into the top of that chain 3, And now I'm going to be changing colors here. So okay, so I'm going to put a slip knot in my yarn. I'm going to start directly in this hole, this square, after I slip stitched into the top of that chain there. So go into that hole, that square, and we're going to chain 6. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The chain 4 counts as a triple crochet, and then the chain 2 counts as a chain 2. And then we're going to go to the next stitch. And this one is a V-stitch. All along we've been putting a V-stitch in the V-stitch. We're not going to do that anymore. We're going to put 1 triple crochet into the V-stitches and every square around, or every space. All right, so yarn over twice, skip over to that V-stitch. This is not considered a space. Yeah, just make sure you're in the V-stitch. All right, so we'll make our triple crochet. And we're going to chain 2 between each one. So go to your next V-stitch, which is right here. Do the same thing, a triple crochet and a chain 2. Go to your next V-stitch here. Triple crochet, chain 2. And I'll meet you at that corner. Okay, now I have my triple crochets where they're supposed to go. I did the last one in this V-stitch here, and I've chained 2. So now we're going to connect the back and the front together. So where we put our stitch marker, we are going to put a triple crochet, chain 2, and then we're going to go over to where our stitch marker is in the back, in that space, and we're going to put a triple crochet in there. And this is just to hook the front and the back together, and then chain 2, and then we go to our next V-stitch and put a triple crochet in there, chain 2, triple crochet in the next V-stitch, and in all squares. All right, so there's a V, our last V-stitch under the arm, and then the next space is a space where you put a triple crochet, and triple crochet, triple crochet, triple crochet, all the way around. And then I'll show you what we're going to do in the next row. Okay, I'm at the end of this row, and I have a triple crochet in every V-stitch, and in, like this one is a square, square, square. Okay, now I've chained 2, and I'm going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 4 right here. 1, 2, 4, somewhere there. Slip stitch. And then we'll slip stitch into the center of that square. And then we're going to do our chain 6. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we'll continue on making our triple crochets in each. This time it's going to be in each square because we no longer have those V-stitches, because we went into them already with a simple triple crochet. Okay, chain 2, go in the next square with a triple crochet. Chain 2, go in the next square with a triple crochet. Continue on, and then I'll show you what to do when we get under the arm there where we attach the front and the back together. Now here we are where we connected the front and the back together, right? And this is your armhole here. So I've chained 2 already, and I'm just going to go right in here and put a triple crochet in there, right in that chain 2 that bridged the front and the back of the top together. Chain 2, and just continue on making your triple crochets in all the squares. All right, and then so continue on doing that. Make as many rows as you would like to have the length that you would like of your top, and then we'll come back and do the underarms and put some trim on these sleeves and around the bottom. I've made my top the length that I wanted, so I'm just going to finish off this last row. I've chained 2, and then I'm going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 4. Okay, then from here we're going to make a little border. So I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to go back into the top of that triple crochet there with a single crochet. Then I'm going to go into each of these 2 chains. This one pulled a little tight. Go into each of these chain 2s here with single crochets, and then into the triple crochet with a single crochet. And I'm going to do that all the way around the bottom, and then we're going to put a couple more rows to make it kind of neat looking. Just to add a nice little border, and then we'll do the sleeves, and we will do the neckline as well. I'm at the end of the single crochet row, so I'm just going to slip stitch into that first single crochet we made, and we're done that row. So now the next row we're going to chain 3, and then we're going to make a double crochet in the next stitch and every stitch around. Just a double crochet in every stitch around. Okay, now I've come to the end of the double crochet row. I'm only going to put 1 row. I made 2 double crochet rows in the 4-weight sweater or top that I made. You can do that if you like. I'm just going to make 1 row, I think. All right, so at the end, so slip stitch into that first chain 3 we had made. And then we're going to chain 3. That'll count as a double crochet, and then we're going to chain 1 more, which will count as a chain 1. And then we are going to skip 1 double crochet, and we're going to go into the next one with a double crochet, chain 1, skip the next stitch, go in the next one with a double crochet, and that's what we're going to do all the way around here. So chain 1, skip the next one, go in the next one with a double crochet, chain 1, skip the next one, go in the one after that with a double crochet. So what we're doing here is we're making little squares like here, but tinier ones. Okay, I'll meet you at the end of this row. Okay, I'm at the end of my little squares. If you do not have a stitch to skip, no worries. I didn't either. Looks perfectly fine, right? Okay, make sure you chain your 1 and then slip stitch into the top of that chain 3 that we made at the beginning of the round. Chain 1, go back into that stitch with a single crochet. Now our little chain 1s might be a little squished in there. But we're going to make a single crochet right into those. You can always grab a smaller hook to get through that chain and then switch back to your whatever hook size you're using. Okay, so we're just going to do single crochets around the bottom. You can do double crochets after that if you like. I just want to do single crochets maybe just to finish off this row, this round, this edging. That's what I did with 4-weight. So continue doing that, just single crochets all the way around, and then slip stitch into the first single crochet you made at the beginning of the round. And I'm going to do the sleeves the same way. I'm going to do the sleeves the same way, but first we have to sew up that opening under the sleeves because it always ends up being a little big. So I will meet you at the sleeve. All right. Now for the underarm, where you have that space under it. This is the top, this is the shoulder. So I've already done the other one first of all, the other sleeve. This is right side out here. Make sure your garment's inside out. So I'm going to do this other sleeve the same way. So what I've done is, where we have the stitch marker there, we're right in our corner. So I've counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 V-stitches. And I'm going to stop sewing just on the other side of that 5th V-stitch. So I've marked it. And now this, you can take this stitch marker out now because your top is open further down there. So we're just going to sew that part together, and then we're going to make a border around. Oh, I got a knot in that yarn. Oh, there we go. We're going to make a border around the sleeve. After some frogging, I got it right. Okay. So just sew it however you sew. All right, just continue doing that, and I'll meet you at when we're ready to do the border. When you've sewn in your side, you just make a knot like this. And then sew the yarn in, or weave it in. Cut it off, then you're going to have to weave in the other where you started. Like right here, I'll have to weave that in later. Okay, now if you finish sewing your side, you're going to want to turn your garment right side out, and then we're going to do the border around the sleeves. We're going to be making single crochets in every stitch and every chain 2 space. I'm going to be going right into the loops of the chain 2 space. Okay, let me tighten this up properly. All right, so connect your yarn, chain 1, go back into that space with a single crochet, and keep track of the number of single crochets you do, because you want to do the same amount on the other sleeve. Okay, so that's on top of that triple crochet. So then I'm going to put 2 single crochets in the chain 2. There's a chain 2. Did I miss it over here? Oh, okay, just going to put another one right in there. Nobody will know. All right, so now we are going to put single crochet on top of that triple crochet. And then now this space is between the V-stitches, so you don't want to go in there. We're going to skip right over that. And let's see. Losing track here. Actually, we are going to go in there. We are going to go in there. All right. And then we're going to go into each of those chain 2s, because that one we just did was part of that triple crochet, I believe. So go into each of the chain 2s, and then go in that one, which I think is on top of that triple crochet. Anyway, in total, you're going to have single crochet on top of the triple crochet, 2 single crochets in the chain 2, and then another single crochet on top of the next, another single crochet, yes, on the top of the next stitch. Okay, so that's on top of the stitch. That's in the first of the chain 2. That's in the second of the chain 2. And then this one will be on top of the triple crochet. All right, so continue on with that. And I'll meet you at the end. Okay, I'll meet you at the end. Okay, slip stitch in that first single crochet that you made, and then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to make a double crochet in every stitch all the way around. One double crochet in every stitch all the way around. Okay, I'll see you at the end of this row. Now, once you've slip stitched into your first triple crochet or double crochet, actually it was a chain 3, right? Then what I'm going to do is switch hooks. I was working with the 5.5 that I did the whole sweater with. I'm going to go down to a 5 because I want this part of the border to be tighter around my arm. Okay, so what I'm going to do is chain 3. And then I'm going to chain another one. The first 3 counts as a double crochet, and then there's chain 1. So I'm going to skip a stitch and go in the next one with a double crochet. Chain 1, skip the next one, go in the next one with a double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, go in the next one, do a double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, go in the next one with a double crochet. And that's what we're doing around this round. So I'll meet you at the end of this round. Now we're at the end of our little square row. Now if you don't have just one stitch to skip. If you have 2 stitches, don't worry about it. Just chain 2 rather than chaining 1. It's under your arm. Nobody's gonna notice. All right. Okay, so now we're gonna slip stitch into the top. Where is that? Top of that chain 3. Now I'm going to change color again. I'm going to go to the darkest one, I believe it was, that I was using for the other sleeve. Let me check. Yes, it's this. Can you see that? Dark one here. Oh wait, I already have. Oh my goodness. Is that falling apart? It's okay, it's just unwinding. All right. So I'm just going to I'm just going to connect this with a slip stitch into that, oops, chain 3 there. Sure. And then cut off the one I just used or just worked with. Tie these 2 together, sew them in later, or you could go right over top of them because this row is just going to be a single crochet row. So where did we stop? Oh. Okay, so chain 1, go into that top of that double crochet we did, and then go into, there is a chain hiding somewhere. Okay, there is a chain. I can't see it. It might be pulled too tight. Okay, so okay, go on the next stitch. A single crochet. All right, there's the next chain 1, and then go in the next stitch with a single crochet, and just continue doing that, and I'll meet you at the end of this row. Okay, so for that last row, that single crochet row, we're going to just slip stitch. Okay, where am I at here? Slip stitch into that first single crochet we did, and then sew in our ends, and that'll be done. The only thing we have left, I think, is the neck. Sometimes you think you're done and you're not, so that's why I say I think. So the neck. So if you want, and if your neck is not high enough or not big enough, you can do that same edging around your neck, But I think what I'm gonna do is just do a single crochet all the way around mine. So just have to figure out which yarn I have enough of. The yarn that's left over, do I wanna, well, I guess I'm gonna try this dark one that goes with it. So you can start anywhere. Let's see. Oh, I don't know, might be pretty close. So I'll make a slip stitch. Go through at the top of one of your stitches. Really, yeah, I think it's just easier for me to go through there instead of starting on a chain. Chain one, and go back in that stitch with a single crochet. Okay, now we chained 2 in between each one, so we'll put 2 single crochets in those chain 2s, like right into the stitch. That's what I'm doing. And then put a single crochet in the top of that stitch. Single crochet into that chain 2. Single crochet on the top of your stitch. So like that, go all the way around like that, and when you come back, slip stitch into your first single crochet.